There were layoffs all the time. I was laid off probably 4 or 5 times in my career. And what that did was it put me back into a position where I have to decide what I want to do. Each time I was, sort of the universe asking me like, well, what do you want to do? And then each time I would go, I would go back into the belly of the beast and wind up, in a situation that I wasn't happy with. So I guess the tumult actually helped me, you know, it sort of pushed me in the direction of starting my own thing because I felt like if at least I had control, I could have maybe a little bit more stability.
Welcome to this week's episode of the Ageism Survival Guide. As I promised you, I've got a business founder on this week's episode. His name is Todd Anthony, the founder of Pinwheel Content, a marketing agency in San Francisco. And we're going to dive into how he came to the decision to form his own marketing agency, his history in marketing, and he'll tell you all about that. And then we'll talk about some of the challenges that he's encountered running his own businesses. This is exactly what I promised to you, the listeners, that we're going to get right down into it and help you make your decision on starting a new business or not. So first of all, Todd, welcome to the Ageism Survival Guide.
Hey, John, thanks for having me. I'm excited to talk to you about this.
Great. Really appreciate that you're here. I just want to point out to the audience that we're 14 time zone hours apart. I've got late evening and you've got early morning. So we have different perspectives just on the day at this moment.
I'm still waking up.
So let's get into your background a little bit. And you spent 35 years in marketing. You've worked in a number of agencies that probably anybody will recognize the names. And you at some point made a decision to start your own business and start your own marketing agency. Tell us a little bit about your background, your story, and how you made that journey into where you are today.
Sure. Thank you, John. So I started in advertising after having a whole bunch of other jobs back when I was around 25. And I started work for McCann Erickson in Prague. I had been in Prague for about a year at this time, and I'd been selling business phone books door to door, which was super fun. I met a ton of people. I walked a lot, and I just heard about a job at McCann Erickson for an account executive. So I went for it. I got it, and I was there for about a year. And when I came back to the States, I got a job at McCann in San Francisco, and thus it began. I, initially was working on accounts like Coke and Johnson and Johnson and Gillette and big global brands, and I learned a ton. And I decided at one point that I was better at the creative side than I was at the account side. Because when you switch from the account side is very much about strategy. And when you go to the US, the account side is really more about sales and project management. And that just kind of wasn't what I was into. So I got into the Portfolio Center, which is a communication arts school in Atlanta. And I put my copywriter book together there. And I got a job pretty much right out of school with my art director partner from school. We worked at J. Walter Thompson, which became JW2T later on, and now is no more, like many of the big agency names that we all know. I went to work at Young and Rubicam, and then I had a stint in-house at Yahoo for 5 years as a creative lead there. And then I had a creative director role for the brand side at CBS Interactive. CBS Interactive had a lot of websites like CBS.com and TE.com and Chow.com. Uh, and then I went back to I had a brief stint with Ogilvy, and then went to a startup. And at the startup, I got the startup bug a little bit. It was it was a really exciting environment. It was very fast paced. Everybody was being challenged to wear multiple hats and learn new things very quickly, um, to take advantage of the opportunity that the brand had in the marketplace. And the brand, by the way, was TRX, which is a training company that was started by a U.S. Navy SEAL. And while I was there, it became around $100 million company. Um, and it was exciting. I was head of content there. Um, so with that, and at that point in my career, I was interested in doing something different, but something that I knew how to do. And so I basically decided to start my own agency. And that is how Pinwheel was born. I just wanted more autonomy. I wanted to do things the way that I wanted to do them because I felt like a sometimes I had a better idea than than I was being told to do. You're instructed to do one thing, and you're like, yeah, but if could just do this. And I guess I had 30 years of that, and I was a little tired of it. And I just kind of wanted to do it the way I wanted to do it.
I
So,
mean,
yeah.
marketing, I worked in the auto industry for 30 years, so I always had a
Yeah.
lot of exposure to marketing agencies, and they always seemed anything but stable.
Yeah.
Constant change, being bought and sold,
Hmm.
being on an account, off an account.
Hmm.
How did that prepare you, or what did that do do to you, when you
Hmm.
have that constant sense of change and tumult in the agency world?
Yeah, that's a great question, because it did prepare me for what I eventually wanted to do and am doing now. There were layoffs all the time. I was laid off probably 4 or 5 times in my career, and what that did was it put me back into a position where I have to decide what I want to do. Each time I was, sort of the universe asking me like, well, what do you want to do? And then each time I would go, I would go back into the belly of the beast and wind up, in a situation that I wasn't happy with. So I guess the tumult actually helped me, you know, it sort of pushed me in the direction of starting my own thing because I felt like if at least I had control, I could have maybe a little bit more stability. Um, I also created the agency in a way, I basically structured it in a way that it was more stable, when the market dips and clients leave and um, volatility, you know, visited us. So the model being that we bring in some full timers, but the majority of the work is being done by contractors. So if the work goes away, so do the costs of doing that work. So it made us a little bit more durable in the downtimes. And
Yeah, that's
so
something that I did address in the
mm,
um, starting your own business episode, where I
yeah.
mentioned the three different tiers of having employees, right? From having contractors, um, or having part time, or having full time. And I think you're
Hmm.
taking a very prudent decision, right, to manage your costs and not being out there too risky or too committed with fixed cost of having full time employees.
Yeah, I mean, if you talk to any finance person, they'll tell you you should convert those contractors to full timers. Your margin will be better, and they're right. But they're not accounting for the fact that there is volatility, and hard costs are hard costs. So we tried to keep our hard costs as minimal as possible, and we have one of the lightest models I've come across.
And making that step, I think the hardest part of taking the step to starting your own business is that financial aspect, right? You know what a salary is like. Through thick or thin, the salary is coming at the end of the month or every 2 weeks, and you it's predictable. And then when you get ready to start your own business, you don't know, number one, when is the revenue going to start? When are you going to get to break even? How is that going to develop? How did you get past that, or how did you get through that?
Well, that's really the crux of the issue right there. A lot of times I speak to people who want to start their own agency, and that is really the biggest blocker is how do I maintain sort of cash flow through this process? And the answer is that you have to take a leap. And unfortunately, you have to weather the times that you don't have any income coming in. That said, when I started, agencies are great models, and everybody's telling young people to start agencies right now because you can start it with no money. Basically, it's easy to start, but the way that I started was basically just as a contractor myself, and so I was selling my services first before I was selling the agency, and so eventually, I set up the LLC right off the bat, but I wasn't actually pitching us as an agency solution until I was able to get enough volume to where I had multiple people working on multiple projects across multiple accounts. So that's how I did it, and that's how agency owners often do it. Um, so that was easy.
I think it certainly behooves you, of course, to have some savings up front, right? You need a certain runway that you have to ride on until you get that revenue stream to a certain consistent level.
Yeah, I was lucky in that my wife, my lovely wife, is a HR leader, and she's often had very stable jobs that pay well and provide benefits and things like that, which in the United States is it's kind of critical because we don't have health care for free. Um, but yeah, that is one lucky thing. And I've talked to people who don't have that, so it's a little bit harder for them to make that change.
Right. That's one thing I do talk about in that past episode, which is another consideration, right? You have to have $500 to $1,500, even just for one person, to have medical care on a monthly basis.
hmm Yeah, um, yeah. The ACA made it a little bit easier for individuals to get healthcare, but it's still so expensive. It's insane.
So we talked about you went and you started an LLC right away, which is a great
Yeah.
move. I did the same.
hmm
How do you handle, for example, for the listeners, how do you handle
hmm
your accounting? Because you're a marketing expert
hmm
in creative. I'm going to
hmm
take a guess you're not a born accountant. Neither am I. So how do you handle that one?
Yeah, my dad told me he wasn't going to pay for college unless I took an accounting class, and I took it pass fail and barely passed. So no, I'm not very good at it. I'm not very good at math in general. First thing I did when I started an agency was hire a bookkeeper. So that's how I handle it, is I hire it out and I hire it to people that I trust. Our first bookkeeper was awesome. Now we have a whole firm that specializes in it, creative agencies. Their name is Upsourced, and they're out of Ohio. They're fantastic. Had them for 3 years now.
No, I think that's a great solution. Whether it's remote or it's right there in town, it's a great solution to have that outside.
Yeah, I think the larger thing, John, I would say is that if you don't have a skill set or you are deficient in a particular skill set, don't be afraid to hire that out. Don't try to struggle through it. It's going to take you a lot more time. It's going to constrain you as a business owner. It's going to eat up all of your resources so that you can't do the thing that you're actually good at. So definitely be okay with giving things away and paying for them. It's an investment, but it'll pay off.
Right. I fully agree with you on that one.
Yeah.
The core business activity needs to rest with you.
Yeah.
Not doing all that tangential stuff in your spare time.
Yeah, indeed. Exactly.
So I have two questions. I'm gonna start with one that's gonna take me to the other.
Okay.
So marketing, again, going back to marketing
Hmm.
agencies.
Yeah.
You had a journey of 35 years in marketing, and
Yeah.
clearly you were younger when you started and not so young when you left the agency world, the big agency world.
Yeah.
And how did ageism play itself out? Because I know that agencies, they tend to be moving fast
Yeah.
and fresh ideas and all of those keywords that you always hear related
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
young people.
Yeah. 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 So the agency world's little secret, John, is that is a big pile of bullshit. Um, that is the story that they sell. The reality is this: they parade around senior level people in the pitches, and then when they win the pitch, they turn around and they give the day-to-day task to juniors. And the reason why they do that is because they can, first of all, load them up with tons of work, their time and materials. So the fact that junior people take longer to do things, great, that works for us. You know, so they're fundamentally built on selling that idea that younger people are the ones that come up with, they're in tune with the culture, they come up with all the ideas. It is not true at all. Yes, there is some benefit to having young people on accounts, and I love bringing young people along and teaching them, and but my model isn't built on that. In fact, my model actually would suffer a little bit from doing that. Though I think it's worth it in the long run because I believe in young people. But ultimately, our agency runs better and faster and smarter with senior level people.
And you have
So,
just walked straight into my next question that I wanted to ask,
oh,
because you've told me that you have a unique business model and you've
yeah.
taken a very conscientious decision about
Hmm.
whom to hire and why you hire that particular type of employee.
Hmm.
Maybe you can tell
Hmm.
us about that.
Yeah, so when I was just starting at that point where I had more work coming in than I could take on myself, I started to bring in other people that I knew from the industry, people that I respected, people that were senior and very, very good. And I remember thinking, okay, well, I could hire a junior level person and then go out and find that person because I don't know them right now. Or I could hire Laura Scholes, who is a great writer. She's from the editorial world originally, but she's also really good at copywriting. She's been doing it for 30 years, and I won't have to manage her. So again, managing people it can be time consuming and it can be fraught, and there could be issues, and there's every time you have an issue in a service level business, that's something that the client feels as friction. So you don't want that, right? Um, so I brought in senior level people to basically free me up to build the business while also doing a better job of delighting the clients with the work. So, and there's a few reasons why, as over time, what I've discovered is that senior level people, there's just more, and it's hard to quantify. There's no logic behind it, but there is a certain amount of synchronicity that you get from people with 20 or 30 years experience. Projects just move like a dance, They are 1,000 times more efficient. They're better results. Clients are happier. They're ego free. They're at the top of their game. They have so much wisdom. Um, they have lots of frames of reference. a client might throw them for a loop. There might be a badly behaved client somewhere. They've seen it before. They know how to handle it, whereas a junior, and believe me, I was that junior at one point, would have a little tantrum about it and maybe do something that causes even more friction on the client side. Whereas the senior level person's like, yeah, I've been down that road. I don't need to do that again.
But Todd,
Yeah,
if I
yeah.
go into any corporate accounting department, they're going to
hmm
tell me that all of those senior employees that you're hiring are much too expensive. How do you justify all of that expense? And I'm saying
Yeah.
this with some sarcasm.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, ultimately they are cheaper. Um, and from, somebody who's running a time and materials shop, that's not always to my benefit, right? But it is to the client's benefit. They're getting better work faster, and it's less expensive than it would be if we hired junior level people, ultimately, right? I do, one of the things is that I'm not greedy. I, my wife probably would love it if I charged more for what we do, but ultimately, I'm okay with a margin that's probably a third or less, probably less than a third the size of the big agency margins, because I'm not trying to get rich. I just want to have a good living. I want to enjoy my life. I want to have enough money to do what I want to do, and I don't need to be like a multimillionaire. Although, that would be nice.
I think nobody is going to disagree with you on that point.
Yeah, yeah. Plus, I don't really love the activity of holding people's hands. It's just not fun for me. That's not what I want to
Right.
do with my time.
And given that so many people are being pushed out nowadays simply because of their age, I mean, there has to be a certain, I don't know how to put this, but like a certain psychological satisfaction for you that you're helping people also, right? They don't necessarily find new jobs in today's job environment, and you're providing an opportunity that might be very unique for them, that they might not be able to find otherwise.
Yeah, and that does feel good. I love hiring people that are in a situation that they're like, I'm a little nervous about what's happening right now. I don't know what I'm gonna do to make my next payment on my house. Um, and to be able to bring those people in and say, I think you're incredibly talented and valuable, and I think we can both benefit each other. Ultimately, I think that if you were to take industry as a monolith, the people making the decisions are probably right about one thing, in that there is this one tiny little band where somebody is more valuable because their experience is at a certain level, and also they're relatively young. So let's say 35, 36 years old, right? And the quality to cost ratio is probably pretty good for them. But it's hard to find those people, and they're in high demand. So if you go lower and you're hiring people that are younger and trying to, pull them up, that's cool, but also that's going to be fraught with issues. And if you hire senior level people, you're paying a little bit more, but you're also getting a lot more, I think. So maybe the margin's less than that 35, 36-year old, but it's a great stable model to build a business on.
So as a business owner with employees, not necessarily direct employees, what would you say was like the biggest challenge that you had to overcome? I mean, what was the thing that kept you awake at night the most? Or what's the most challenging thing day to day that you have to face?
Well, right now, the most challenging thing that we have to face is, listen, we have great clients. We have Stripe, we have Experian, we have Lending Club Bank, which just became Happen Bank. We have Experian Health. There's some great clients, and we've had them for a long time. Getting new clients is really the challenge with agency business. It's not like people go shopping in a agency store. You know, you're not on
Right,
the
right.
shelf. You know, it's a very inefficient model. And I was hoping somebody would create like an aggregator of sorts that allowed people to shop for agencies in a really efficient way. And some people are trying to do that, but so far all of the ones that have been created are terrible. So yeah, it's all built on trust, and trust is not something that is easy to create. It takes a personal connection, and so a lot of times it's the owner's personal connections that are driving their new business. And so we've tried in many different ways to hack that. So, for example, we bring people in and then tell them that they can make the 10% on any new business that they bring in. So basically relying on their relationships, their personal relationships. So expanding that network. Um, we're talking about bringing in somebody who would essentially be she would hunt and kill her own food, and then she would bring in a client that we would then expand, and she would make money on the she would make money both doing the work and also on the future work. So
I know that business development is probably one of the biggest challenges. Is, I'm a consultant, and depending on where I am in the cycle of a particular project, I'm either doing more
mm,
or less business development work, trying to find the
yeah,
next project. Is that?
yeah,
I mean, I like what you've done, this hack by
mm,
kind of outsourcing your business development to your team
yeah.
as well. How much
Mm.
time do you have to spend on it versus the actual work of the different marketing projects that
Yeah. Yeah, it's really difficult to balance that. I'm doing so many different things. So, for example, we're still an agency where I like to be in the work sometimes. So I'm doing client work, and that is often because it's billable. That often pulls my attention more than anything else. Where I probably should be spending at least 50% of my time on business development, um, maybe more, maybe 70% of my time
Mhm.
on business development and marketing. And business development and marketing are two different things too. I mean, business development being more sort of reaching out to my own networks and networking through maybe going to conferences, et cetera. Whereas marketing is kind of more about getting our name and story in front of more buyers, which is also something that we're trying to do. We're also creating a tool, a free tool that people can use where they can put their own company URL in and get a brand health report that's generated through AI using a lot of externally facing signals like LinkedIn, Reddit, uh, Glassdoor,
Mhm.
other third-party review sites, things that people are saying in the ether to get a sense for like how is your brand being perceived in the marketplace. And so that's going to be a sales tool. That's like a door opener kind of a thing to get those conversations where we can start to really develop that trust and show that we know how to help a company.
But that takes some fancy footwork, quite frankly, because you're going to try to sell to them that they have a problem, probably with their
Yeah.
brand, a weak part. So you have to do some fancy footwork to sell this in a positive way that you can help them.
Yeah, no, you're very astute. Yeah, that is essentially, there are positive things that come through in that report, but every brand needs help. So, we're going to highlight the things that they need help with, and yeah, we're going to sell the problem a little bit and sell the solution.
Now, I love that you're using sophisticated tools to help develop your business. So given all of this, would you go back to the big agency world if they offered you? Would you go back?
Nope. No way. No way. I mean, okay, so I'll just take you through my thinking there real quick because if you put yourself in let's say they offered a senior level role at like Ogilvy, New York, if there is such a thing anymore, um, it's tempting for any creative leader to consider that. Maybe it's 350K, maybe it's 500K. Um, that's a good salary. You can live well on that. But those big agencies are incredibly volatile, as you said. And your tenure is going to be about 2 years.
Mhm.
So, 3 if you're lucky, and really, really talented in the political department. So it's not that tantalizing when you really break it down. Running, um, let's say running maybe a smaller mid-sized shop, a little bit more interesting, honestly. But I just don't think I just again, it's too volatile.
hmm So it
I
sounds
like
like
being a
you're
little
very
more energy.
satisfied being exactly in that place where you are.
Yeah, I am. I mean, I have lots of other ideas. I want to open a deli. Uh, I want to launch I have a hot sauce. I want to launch that as a company. Like I have lots of things I want to do because once you catch that entrepreneurial bug, it's it's addictive. Honestly, you're like, I could do that, and I could do that, I could do that. I mean, once you do something, you've done it. Like I've built an agency. We're 12 years in. We're $3 million roughly a year. That's a decent business. Like I could do that again with something else.
I think it's fantastic. I love the hot sauce idea too. I think
Thank
I
you.
had told you the first time we spoke that my wife and I started a hot sauce company during COVID, which once we
Right.
moved abroad, we shut it down.
That's right. I remember
So
now. Yeah.
as we kind of get to the end of the episode, I think the most important question I think is what word of advice would you give to someone who's sitting on the fence right now, listening to this conversation, who doesn't know should they go forward with building their own business or not? I mean, what advice do you have for that person?
I mean, John, it's going to sound a little woo-woo, I have to say, first off, but the universe does favor the bold, and it's a weird thing, honestly. Like anytime I have taken a chance and gone and done something, taken a risk, and pushed forward, things weirdly happen for me, and it's almost as if the universe was hoping I would make that move. It's like, okay, we'll reward you with this. Like you'll get some traction. Here you go. Here's some conversations that, wow, look at that. And it's super exciting once that happens, but you do have to take that leap. But just know that you know maybe it's like there's something around the sort of the luck of the first timer. The first if you're doing something for the first time, something happens and things work out. Or
So
maybe it's
definitely
just
take
me.
some boldness, and I presume also some planning.
I mean, yeah, don't be dumb about it. Do your research. Another piece of advice, and this is a real solid piece of advice, is get some help early. I had a business coach who I started with. My parents paid for it. It was like $1,200 for maybe 6, 7 sessions, and I mean, he wasn't the best, but he was good enough to where he was giving me a lot of pretty solid advice. So don't be afraid to ask for help from people who are paid to help people like you. I've had 3 or 4 coaches since, and it's helped me tremendously every single time.
Yeah, at the end of the day, you don't know what you don't know, and it's good to have someone come along and kind of help
Yeah.
uncover some of those things that you don't know.
Oh, it's so refreshing to know the things that you don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
It's also scary when you find them out sometimes.
Sometimes, yep, it's true.
So, any final thoughts from your side as we wrap up here? Just the final say.
Yeah.
I love the last one was fantastic. Get help and don't be too
Mhm.
proud.
Yeah, I would say that you know, ageism is a stereotype, and we are living longer, more healthfully than we ever have. And this is the first time I think for in ever where we have 4 or 5 generations in the workplace at the same time. And that's and I think that the stereotype is lagging behind the reality. And so just know that what you're facing is a stereotype, and you have to break through.
Yeah, just carry on and push forward.
Exactly. Push on through
Great.
to the other
Well,
side.
very sage advice. Thank you, Todd.
Mm.
I really appreciate that, and I thank you for again also for spending your early morning here with the Ageism Survival Guide.
It was a great way to wake up, John.
Excellent. This is also a great way for me to wrap up the day. Then,
Uh-huh. Exactly.
well,
Yeah.
with that, I do want to thank the listeners for tuning in. And just remind everyone that all of the resources that I have available are located at ageismsurvivalguide.com, where you can find downloads, links to all of the different podcast links, video links. And I'll also on this episode drop in information for Todd down in the notes below so that you can use his agency for your next marketing needs. And
Yeah.
with that, I'm
Thanks.
going to end with what I always say, that youth runs fast, but age knows the terrain. See you next week.
I like that.
And it's a wrap.